Okay, and it looks like we are going to get started very soon here. Okay, so now moving into the prologue, there isn't like anything big here. Really, it's just an introductory level to teach us how to jump and climb on walls and stuff. The only important thing here, speed-wise, on top of not dying, which unfortunately does happen sometimes because you can't dash yet, is each jump you do saves like 1 or 2 frames. So we try to do as many jumps as possible in order to save a little bit of time. And it looks like both of our runners successfully have avoided death in prologue. It doesn't happen too often, but when it does, it can like really easily like shake up your whole run and cause even more nerves than you would already have for a tournament race. So now moving into chapter 1, here is where we get to start using the dash like actually. And so I'm kind of just going to explain the basics of dash movement here. So on top of our normal dash, if you dash on the ground and then jump right after your dash ends, you can keep a lot of the speed from your dash in the air. And the important thing about that is if you wait until after your dash fully ends and then jump, you can actually keep your dash and the speed, and we can use that to cross large distances. And another important thing is if we dash and then jump but hold down, or like down and right or down and left, we get more distance and less height, and that's known as a hyper. Another thing you might see from these runners, like just there on GDTog's screen, is if you dash up vertically into a wall and then wall jump while still in your dash, you get a bit of extra height and distance, and that's known as a wall bounce. And actually now on GDTog's screen, he did some neutral wall jumps in order to get up that wall. Basically, that allows us to climb up walls without running out of stamina ever. It's not a super big trick, but it does save time in several places in the run. Oh, unfortunately, Lv99Weeb's having a little bit of trouble with this zipper block here. They're like a big mechanic in the first chapter, but they're not really a big deal in the speed run. So now GDTog's moving into chapter 2 here. He's about to do a small glitch where if you skip the cutscene high enough, the cutscene only changes your horizontal position and not your vertical position, so it can teleport you inside of that dream block and save like a second or two. And also, what these dream blocks are basically when you dash into them, you keep like the same speed as your dash the whole time, but you need to make sure that like there's not a wall on the other side. And the cool thing about these is you can both like jump out and actually hyper dash out of these blocks, although we probably won't see that in this chapter because most of the time we need the dash we get from the end of the block. And also now GDTog's moving into the battle and chase. She basically follows you like 3 seconds behind you or something. It's not a huge deal except for like the last 2 rooms, which you can see coming up here, because we have to do a little bit of backtracking. But it looks like GDTog's getting through these rooms just fine, and now Lv99Weeb is also going through his first instance of these dream blocks. So now at this point, GDTog is basically done with all of his like risks or possibilities of dying, but the chapter is still not over. There's a solid like 30-35 seconds of movement that is pretty challenging outside to do optimally. And now Lv99Weeb is moving into his battle and fight here. Some fairly solid movement from GDTog. Pretty good start, except for a few mistakes. So now moving into Chapter 3, the Celestial Resort. This is actually where the group name for a huge mess comes from, the name of this group that the race is in. So the big new mechanic here in Chapter 3 are these dust bunnies. Probably one of the most hated mechanics in this game, because they make a large number of these rooms very cycle-based. But also at the same time, that means once you get the cycle down in a room, you don't really have to worry about trying to optimize it any faster than that, or like do any crazy strats most of the time. Ooh, Lv99Weeb taking an unfortunate death towards the end of the battle and fight. Basically, these last couple of screens are very long, and that tends to be the case in most chapters. If you die in the last few screens, you can easily lose like 10 seconds or more. And also another new thing in Chapter 3 are these like coin blocks, where if you collect all 4 of these coins, the door opens. They're not really anything huge, but they do like appear several times throughout the run. And then there's also keys now, because we need every type of door possible. So now on GDTog's side, we can see he's moving into the huge mess section. And basically, movement through this room is just like awful most of the time. It can actually be pretty like fun if you get it all well, but movement there is very challenging just because of how cluttered the room is. So really you can see here, this is where like these cycle rooms start to like super come into play, and those rooms are like mostly cycle dependent. And now Lv99Weeb is finished with his Chapter 2, so he'll be moving on to Chapter 3. So basically the purpose of the huge mess section is we have to go to 3 different areas and hit some switches. And the path we take is dependent on where we have to talk to Oshiro after hitting those switches. Also, something I didn't mention earlier, but on Lv99Weeb's side, you can see that he's using that screen transition to get his dash back and allow him to skip some platforming in order to get that key. That comes up in like no other places in the run, but just because screen transitioning takes so long, but it saves a couple seconds there. So now GDTog hits the very last switch of the huge mesh section, so he's going to be moving on to the elevator shaft very soon. This is really the point where this chapter starts to become super punishing. Earlier on, there's a couple of screens that can really lose you a lot of time. But the second half of Resort can be very painful if it doesn't go well. And up in this next room, GDTog is going to be going for a bit of fast strat in order to get this key. That's actually very nice. Chaining several hypers to jump across those platforms is very challenging. but it does like save a nice little bit of time if you can get it consistently. So now on GDTog's side, he's about to move into the Oshiro fight. Basically, Oshiro waits a couple seconds and then like shoots that weird laser beam in front of him and then charges at you from the left. He's not a huge deal for most of these rooms, kind of just like the Battling fight, but he does play a pretty large role in the last couple. And now the last screen of the Oshiro fight is like 20 seconds long and is one of the most punishing screens in the whole game to die in. But it's also super hard, so it is a very common like death spot. Ooh, unfortunately takes a death there. And now Lv99Weeb is moving into the his huge mess section. Okay, nice. GDTog gets through the final room of Resort without dying and ends up with around a 542. That is pretty good. You can really see from Lv99Weeb like how awkward some of this movement can be. Like if you make a mistake, it's so easy to just like run into a wall for an hour and a half. So now GDTog's moving into Chapter 4. The big new mechanics here are these green bubbles. Anybody who thinks they're blue is like wrong and should never commentate. But basically these just like give you an extra dash's distance in one direction. And the other fun new mechanic that everybody loves is this wind, which slows you down a lot and is not fun. Also, coming up in this next room, GDTog is going to do a spike jump. So basically, the way spikes work in this game is as long as you're moving away from them, they will not kill you. So as long as we're moving away from the wall there, there's a couple frame window where you can just jump off of the wall even though there's spikes there. And the other fun new mechanic of this chapter is auto-scrollers. So those like auto-moving blocks can cause a lot of trouble, but mostly we can use them to like skip a large part of rooms because they allow us to give more distance than intended because we can get more speed. But unfortunately, some rooms like this one that GDTog's in now, you kind of just have to wait for it. And actually, it looks like Lv99Weeb is taking a different path in the huge mess section than GDTog did, which actually makes some of these rooms, like the books and stuff in them, quite different. So now here, GDTog is moving into the harsh wind section of Chapter 4. Basically, the wind is like twice as fast as it has been throughout the rest of the chapter, and also in this next screen, it introduces another mechanic everybody hates, these snowballs here. They're kind of similar to how Oshiro works, except they come from the right and give you less of a warning. Okay, but now GDTog is completely through the whole snowball section there. They're only there for a couple of screens, and they come back once in Summit. And now GDTog finishes up his Chapter 4 right as Lv99Weeb is moving through the elevator shaft. Ooh, almost taking a death, but he barely manages to save himself there. Ooh, Lv99Weeb almost getting the hypers in this room. Oh, nice. He does get through there. That's very solid. So now Mirror Temple introduces these two new main mechanics, the red bubbles, which are basically the green bubbles, except they let you keep going until you hit a wall or dash out of them. And then the dash blocks. And the dash blocks are very similar to the zippers in Chapter 1. They play a much bigger role, though, and the important thing about them is they move forward when you dash instead of when you interact with them. So he's actually going to use the momentum from this to kind of boost into the next room a little bit. And that saves like half a second there. There's also a strat where if you corner boost after getting the speed from that platform, you can completely skip the next room. So now Lv99Weeb is in his Oshiro fight. Oshiro can be a really big bully sometimes. So hopefully he isn't today. Okay, and now this one small section that's kind of different from the rest of the game on GDTog's side, we actually get to play as a Seeker, which is an upcoming enemy we'll see. And interestingly, it works surprisingly similarly to normal movement with Madeline, because it has a very similar dash mechanic. Ooh, Lv99Weeb having a couple of close calls in that Oshiro room, but he just barely makes it through. So now introducing these Seekers. They like move at you and try to attack you, but the good thing about them is we can actually use them to grab these coins. Oh, GDTog unfortunately taking a death there, but he'll try to land on that one and knock it into that bottom coin, and then the explosion of its death will pick that up. Oh no! Lv99Weeb takes a death because he got some tricky stuff with Oshiro at the very end of Resort. And then GDTog as well, taking a death at the end of that room in Mirror Temple. That's just unfortunate all around. Oh, that was a very close call on GDTog's side. I was scared. Okay, this is really like worrying me. Everything is like so close to death for both runners right now. Okay, Lv99Weeb makes it through the last room and he's done with Resort. Also, GDTog just did like the biggest skip in the game, known as Search Skip. It's not like a super challenging skip, but it saves like a minute and a half or something like that. I don't know, because no one really runs the section that you skip. So now GDTog is moving into everybody's favorite part of this game, the Theo section. basically we have to carry around Theo for like a minute and a half. And the important thing about Theo is you actually can't dash while holding him. So you have to either throw him and then like dash or hyper or like dash jump or something like that, and then grab him in the air, or just like dash before getting to him and then grab him in the air. Which makes movement here a lot more challenging than the rest of the whole game. As well as we still have to deal with these Seekers, which in a couple of rooms are very annoying. But actually coming up in this next room for GDTog, we're going to use the momentum of these dash blocks. Ooh, unfortunately unable to pick up Theo there, but if we do that, we can just go straight into the next room. So here on Lv99Weeb side, you can actually see how to do this room like normally without the spike jump. The spike jump doesn't actually save that much time, but it's worth it because it does save time. And now GDTog finishes up his mirror temple. And Lv99Weeb's moving into the first of the auto-scroller rooms. You might have seen from GDTog's side, he did an extended hyper dash at the very edge of that platform to skip waiting for a couple of seconds at the end. But it looks like Lv99Weeb's not comfortable with that, and he's just choosing to take the safe route there. So now moving into Chapter 6, Reflection. The first big mechanic are these feathers. I don't really know how to explain them. Wow, nice. So, big skip coming up here, lake skip. By wall bouncing off that wall from underwater, there's a couple pixel window where we can wall bounce off of that wall with spikes on it. We're not actually wall bouncing. Whoa, he grabbed it? I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, looks like he's just going to take the safe route then. It only saves a couple of seconds. And it's pretty precise. So the other big mechanic in this chapter are these crush blocks, or Kevin blocks. Basically, you dash into them, and then they head in your direction really fast. So another small thing about these feathers is if you, if there's like multiple feathers you have to collect in a room, you get the first one, and then you reach the second one without the first one running out, you skip like the small animation of getting a feather, and that saves like half a second most of the time. And another nice thing about these Kevin blocks is we can use them to gain a lot of momentum, like you saw in the last room on GDTog's screen, and also there. And now there's also these new pinball bumpers as well in Chapter 6. One of the more disliked mechanics here. And now Lv99Weeb's entered the Harsh Wind section of Chapter 4. Probably one of the hardest parts of the whole game up to this point. Oh, unfortunately gets sniped by a snowball at the very last second of that room. Wow. But yeah, in these wind sections, it can be really a big struggle just like to move through them quickly. Because really, you have to be dashing to move forward almost at all. And at times like that where Lv99Weeb is just barely unable to reach the end of the screen. So GDTog just falling through that room there, doing some developer-intended shortcuts. The big thing about that is if you die at the end, we actually skip a couple of checkpoints by moving through, by like falling through the spikes earlier. So that can be pretty scary. So now on this Kevin block, GDTog is going to go for something known as the Battling boost, where basically towards the end of this block, we can use its moving momentum. Unfortunately, waited a little bit too long, but we can use its momentum to just get like straight into the boss fight from being on top of it. So now moving into the Battling fight itself, this is just like any boss fight in any game you've ever played. You just walk into Battling and you win. Very normal. Okay, and Lv99Weeb finishes up his ridge. Ooh, unfortunately, most of the time hitting Battling does like change the room a large amount, and GDTog gets crushed there. So starting at this point, Battling also does have attacks. She's got these fireballs. Apparently that's what those are. I never knew what those were. And this laser attack that she brings in starting here. Really, the fireballs are a lot more annoying than the laser, because most of the time we can get to her before she even shoots. Okay, and now GDTog is done with the first half of the Battling fight and is moving on to the second half. The big new thing here is Battling starts to be able to move blocks. Instead of like blocks just falling, there's also a lot of blocks moving like up in these rooms. And that one block that moved horizontally just gives a nice like mix up to the platforming here, and can actually cause a lot of trouble if you aren't 100% ready for it. But now GDTog's in the last two rooms of the Battling fight here. Really, these rooms aren't super challenging, but if you die, you lose like a full 10 seconds, and that always makes them really scary. Okay, but GDTog successfully makes it through the last couple of rooms without dying. So now he's going to talk to Battling, and now Madeline is leveled up. And we have 2 dashes. So really, it's this vertical section isn't really anything important. Just using wall bounces even to be optimal. And then moving into Summit, the 2 dashes have become really important. So the basics of Summit are that the first 6 sections, I don't know how to count, but the first 6 sections of Summit are based on the previous chapters. So this section here is based off of Reflection, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in chapters. It just happens to be Reflection first because that's what we just came from. And also Reflection is the lowest point on the mountain. So really, most of these rooms, there's no floor or anything. And we just have to use our 2 dashes and dash crystals everywhere to get past the rooms. Also, Summit in general is an extremely long chapter. It's like 10 minutes, which is like a third or a fourth of the game. I guess it's more of a fourth. And 10 minutes is still a very good time for Summit. So yeah, I guess I'll change it to a third, but that's not important. So now Lv99Weeb's moved in his Seeker section, so hopefully he can deal with these guys well. They're very annoying sometimes. So now moving into 1,000 meters for GDTog, we see the re-emergence. That's probably not the right word. Oh, Lv99Weeb dying right at the end of the screen there. But on the 1,000 meters section of Summit, since we have 2 dashes, you might see him hypering out of these dream blocks. This is always something we could do, but most of the time it doesn't get used until Summit, just because, well, obviously when we have 2 dashes, it's a lot more safe. Actually, it looks like he's not going to do that, so I just wasted my whole life talking for nothing. So now this 1,500 meter section is probably one of the hardest parts of Summit. And actually, Lv99Weeb getting his search skip first try after having a bit of trouble setting it up. But yeah, 1,500 meters is a very challenging part of this run. And also, some of these screens are very long, which makes it even worse. And now Lv99Weeb's made it through his Seeker section of Chapter 5, and he's moving on to Theo. GDTog is in the lead. So now, moving on to 2,000 meters on GDTog's side, we're bringing back everyone's favorite mechanics, the wind and the snowballs, pretty soon. Oh, Lv99Weeb having a very close call with that Seeker, but just barely managing to make it through. Oh, and unfortunately, GDTog going for an auto-scroller skip there and dying at the very end. Yeah, he's just been a little bit too low both of these times. Okay, Lv99Weeb kind of getting like trapped in a corner with a Seeker and somehow managing to survive. How? What is happening? Okay, everything is okay. And he bounces the Seeker off of Theo to kill him. That was kind of crazy. Okay, now GDTog is done with the 2,000 meter section and he's moving on to 2,500 meters. So this section here has a bunch of rooms where we use these dash blocks momentum to skip most of the rooms. Or at least to move through them all very quickly. And now actually coming up in this next room, GDTog is going to be going for a key skip, where basically by holding neutral while jumping and doing 2 precise wall jumps here. Oh, unfortunately, he's having a lot of trouble with this. It is a pretty annoying trick sometimes, though. But we can skip having to go down and use a bubble to go up and get that key. And Lv99Weeb finishes up his mirror temple. And now in this next room, there's probably the most important skip in the whole game. It saves an entire second, known as door skip, with a couple of precise dashes through there, and GDTog gets it first try. Honestly, you know, sometimes that skip gets exaggerated a bit. Some people claim that it saves 9 whole years, but I don't believe them. And it looks like Lv99Weeb is also deciding not to go for Lake Skip. So now the 3,000 meters section of Summit, these are actually all like an original, or not even like original, they're just not based off of like earlier levels. And it brings in the like super fun, probably greatest mechanic of all time, downward wind, which just like adds more gravity to you and is not fun. And it also makes this section probably the hardest part of Summit. Actually, I think 1,500 meters is still harder, but this section is still very hard. Oh, GDTog, unfortunately, just barely not being able to make battle, and so he has to slowly neutral wall jump up that wall. But now he's done with the downdraft, and we're moving into the more fun Summit mechanic, upwards wind, which is the exact opposite of the downwards wind, and is like really cool and floaty. Also, at this point on GDTog's side, there's a couple of flags right around where he is, like this one, that are very long, and taking a death here can be very big. Ooh, just barely making it through the spikes there on GDTog's side. And now he's about to move into the... actually, I guess he's not, because there's like a half screen with like 2 seconds of gameplay before the final section of Summit. But now he's out of the updrafts here and just got a couple more checkpoints to go until he reaches the top. And actually, Lv99Weeb here, taking a different path than GDTog took earlier. I've actually heard that that path is faster if you do it optimally, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, and now GDTog makes it to flag 1. There should be no more risk of dying here. I say that, but it does still end up happening. Hopefully I'll curse him into accidentally resetting before the end flag. And no, looks like he is done with a final time of a 38:22. Pretty okay run from him. I could definitely, like... His summit, at least for him, was not that great, and I could sense some frustration coming out in his gameplay. But other than that, a very solid run from him. And Lv99Weeb taking the start of this room safer, so he actually has the checkpoint and only loses a couple of seconds from dying when trying to fall down there. And now Lv99Weeb is moving into his battle and fight. Actually, I'm going to see if I can get GDTog in here for an interview really quickly. Oh, yes, I can. He just showed up right when I said that. Hi.
Hello.
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 So, you were having a fun time in Summit.
I was having a grand time. As soon as the run lost PB pace, I was like, alright, I'm just gonna mess around.
I mean, what Summit would you have needed to PB? Your PB's like...
Anything below 1015 would have gotten it, and I was fully capable of doing it. It's just I choked in 1500, and then I was like, well, there it goes.
Ah, okay, that's what I thought. Because it
didn't help that I messed up leg skip like 5 times too, and
yeah, leg skip is so annoying. Sometimes it either goes first try or last try, or like 800,000th try.
I just gave up and did it the normal way after I took the death, because like I did it 5 times, missed it 5 times, and then I took a death and I was like, screw it.
But still, how do you feel about the rest of the run up until
my early game was great, really good actually, and so was my mid game. Despite the 1 death in the last Seeker room in Temple, like before the Theo section, I mean that really long one with the 4 key switches, I took a death there that cost me like 13 seconds, but overall, like, that was really good. Chapter 4 was almost an ILPB. Chapter 3 was average for me, same with 2 and 1. Actually, my Chapter 2 was really good.
Yeah, you had like almost 202, right?
Yeah, it was almost a sub 2. Yeah, and my ILPB is a 2 minutes flat, so that would have been pretty close. And then cities, whatever, like, I don't really pay attention to my city time. But yeah, no, overall, it was a pretty good run. And I mean, if I had taken it seriously to the end, it probably would have been a 37. But it's like whatever. I didn't really care.
Are you saying you're a bad sportsman? You're being disrespectful?
Not at all. I didn't try to be, at least.
Nah, I'm just joking. It's kind of easy to just like give up on runs where it's like kind of close, and then you get like frustrated because you lose like the possible chance at PB, and then you're just like, I don't want to play this game anymore, but you still have to finish the run.
Exactly. It's like there's no reset button for races, so just kind of had to keep going. But I knew, like, no disrespect to Weeb whatsoever, but like I just knew the difference in skill level, and I mean that's the way the tournament goes, really. I just knew the difference in skill level coming in, so I wasn't too nervous. Like I was normally every other race except for this one, I've been like really like nervous and giddy and all that good stuff. But like this race, I just played the game. I just did it fast.
Yeah, it's really nice, like, actually, as, like, a competitor, having a gap between you and the person you're racing, whether it's, like, they're way better than you and you have no chance at winning, or it feels like you have no chance at losing, because that just takes off, like, all of the nerves.
Exactly.
And you don't have to worry about, like, playing super well. You just have to play.
I find that it's easier to PB that way too, because like if you have no pressure on you and you just play the game as fast as you possibly can, then yeah, there's no nervous screw-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it easier to PB that way too because it forces me to finish runs.
Exactly, yeah, rather than, resetting after something small.
Resetting every time after Chapter 3.
It's like people don't realize that, like, in the first, like, 3 or so chapters, even if you're, like, 20 seconds, 30 seconds behind PB, it does not mean you're not going to PB. It's actually ridiculous how many people you can go and watch, like, how many runners you can go watch and be, like, watch them reset non-stop, constantly, and then, they get in a race, and they PB first time in the race, specifically because they didn't reset.
I've definitely done that a couple of times.
Yeah, most of my races I've just tried to have fun with, and just play the game rather than worry about where's my opponent right now, like what could he or she have done right that I did wrong. Like I don't worry myself about that stuff. I just worry about my own time, really.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I haven't done, like, very many full run attempts at all. I've just been, like, grinding ILs all day. So when I, like, end up getting to the tournament races, I still, like, have a pretty good chance of beating my PB. And it's actually crazy how often PBs have happened this tourney, even, like, with that.
It's constant. It's, like, at least 2 or 3, almost. Like, if there's... I'd say there's probably like a 20% PB rate, like, per day in this tournament.
I would be surprised if it's not more than that.
Yeah, honestly. I'm just saying 20 to be safe, but, like, yeah, it's been pretty ridiculous.
Like, I've PB'd 2 of my 3 races so far.
I've PB'd, I think this is my 5th, and I've only PB'd once, though. But,
you're bringing
I was
down
close
the
to
average.
PB 2 other times.
So actually going in the summit here, it looks like it'll actually be pretty challenging for Lv99Weeb to PB. So his PB on speedrun.com is not actually correct. He has a 102, I think, that he got in another tournament race. I don't know the exact time.
What, 17-minute buffer? So like a 16 and a half maybe would PB. Anything below 16 and a half. Oh, geez, yeah, no, 16. I didn't realize that it was like almost 46.
Honestly, the deaths he's just had in the long rooms end up building up and costing a lot of time in the long run.
Yeah, it happens, especially for like newer. Not necessarily newer runners, but like runners that aren't accustomed to like the movement tech and stuff as much as others, or aren't comfortable with it.
So wait, what even? I can't remember what happened on your 1500 meters.
The room with the two hype, like the not hypers, ultra dashes. Like the room that has the one lock switch underneath of the lock.
Yeah, that room.
The really long room.
That's such a classic annoying room.
Yeah, well, I messed up the ultra dash, the first ultra dash once, and then tried it again, but forgot to screen transition, so died again, wasting more time, and then had to go back out of the room, hyper back into the room, got the ultra, did everything fine, except whenever I got onto the block after I'd gotten the crystal, I missed the first cycle, so I had to wait an extra, like, 5 seconds for that one little dust bunny to twirl around the block so I could continue. And yeah, it just lost me, like, 30 seconds in total, and I was like, yeah, there it goes. Because it's like, there was no way with a 30-second time loss when my average summit is like 10:20, 10:30. There's just no way it was gonna get like lower than 10:15 like I needed it to be. And then auto-scroller skip happens.
Oh yeah, that too.
Deaths? You mean deaths? There was 4. I messed it up 3 times. 3 times. And I almost died at the end of the screen, too, at the time I got it, because I accidentally input a diagonal dash instead of up, and I corner boosted instead of hit the spikes, and I got really lucky.
That's not luck, that was intentional.
Yeah, I meant to corner boost. Like, I actually corner boost religiously. Like, any corner you can corner boost on in this game, I corner boost on.
So you're saying you corner boost almost as much as Babai?
I'm still not on Babai's level, unfortunately. Babai is a different beast when it comes to corner boosting and just strats in general. Okay, guy's crazy, like crazy.
See, I've gotten to the point where I intentionally corner boost in like 2 different rooms because they just happen to be corner boosts when I like did them normally.
There are like a couple that I might go for like every once in a while, but I don't usually use I don't actually use a corner boost anywhere on the run that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, like probably the biggest corner boost in the game is the Chapter 5 skip off of that first dash block towards the beginning.
The one that, yeah, I tried to do that. Like I tried to get the corner boost. I got I got all the way across, I just missed the corner boost.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is, like, pretty inconsistent. Actually,
really
it's not really inconsistent, because I seem to be, like, kind of getting it, but it's, like, a lot harder than normal corner boosts because you're moving so fast.
Yeah, exactly. And, another corner boost, double bubble skip, too. That one's really...
That skip doesn't even exist. I don't believe it.
That's really hard. TGH in his first race did it on the first try.
What?
Weren't we commentating that? Was that you and me? No, it was me and Renubris. Yeah. Yeah, he did it first try in a race, his first race of the tournament against Bry Guy. I remember that fondly. It was hilarious. We lost it.
I spent like 10 minutes attempting it, and I couldn't even like get like anywhere near enough speed off of the first like dash.
I just suck at corner boosting in general, so it was like, even if I did get the right trajectory on the hyper, the extended hyper, if I like got to the point where I could do it, I'd still just mess up the corner boost.
And actually, Lv99Weeb here is taking a different path. He's done that in a couple other places. But basically, there's just a couple places I think he just does alternate rooms that he's more comfortable with. And they're not actually very much slower most of the time. And actually, one of them might be faster. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna go get the hearts and do the core.
Dude, all A-sides? The best category?
Let's go. I could submit... No, I could submit this.
GDTog got a 38-22. Was that it?
I'll double check. Bear with me. Yeah, 38-22. You were right.
That's just proof that I'm a great commentator and I know everything, right, guys?
I often forget people's race times, so I mean, that's something, I guess. For sure.
And actually, Lv99Weeb's also taking a safer but also slower path here. This one probably loses more than the others by a couple of seconds, though. Also, why did you name yourself Yeet? Quick question, if you're still here.
That's the file name that we both agreed on.
Okay, I see.
He wanted it to be Yeet, and I was like, alright, that's fine, then just do the same thing as me. That's normally what I do. Like, people pick file names, and then I'm like, alright, just do the same thing. I added this smiley face to the end, though.
Oh, unfortunately, Lv99Weeb's kind of got stuck on the wrong side of that block and took a death. These auto-scrollers aren't super hard, but they are very... Okay, and now Lv99Weeb finishes up his 2,000 meters. He's going to be moving on to 2,500 meters now. And probably from his side, I assume he won't be going for the key skip. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. So we get to see how that goes normally.
This is weird. I've never seen these rooms like this. Like doing the towel section first and having the other stuff still there.
Oh, unfortunately, just barely not getting enough distance, because I'm pretty sure with a dash you're supposed to, or you're intended to wall jump off of the left wall also in order to get enough distance. Okay, and it does look like Lv99Weeb's taking the safe path, not going for the key skip here. But he gets to the bottom pretty quickly, so that only loses a couple of seconds. And level 99 Weeb is deciding to go for the mystical door skip. Apparently this one saves like 10 years, so this might even be faster than normal door skip. Who knows?
That was actually the highlight of my summit, the fact that I actually got door skip, because I don't usually go for it.
Come on, door skip's not that hard. You should always go for it.
It's not hard, I'm just bad.
The thing about door skip most of the time is, like, it's not super hard, but you have to, like, put a time into it and figure out how exactly, or, like, where exactly to jump. And really, a lot of the time, it's just better to focus on practicing other things. Also, level 99 in the final section of Summit here. He might actually be able to do this. This is going to be really close. Also, can chat please count down the flags? Because this is important. Oh wow, having a very close call there. But he survives, and that's what matters. Oh, unfortunately, it stops just a little bit low of Badland there. Kind of the same mistake that GDTog made earlier. And it takes a really long time to climb back up because of the downdrafts of wind.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't die, I just... I had to neutral wall jump like 60 times to get back up.
It was 5 times. I counted. So now level 99 is coming through the most like punishing flags in this whole section. They're really the scariest part of this updraft section here. Other than that, it's not a huge deal. Okay, and he makes it through just fine. Oh, unfortunately, I think he tried to dash a little bit too early there. So he ended up dashing before picking up the crystal and takes a death from falling too low. This is actually looking really good from level 99 I think this can PB. Only 7 flags to go. Or I don't know how to count. That's 8. That's 7. And by count I mean read. Four more to go. This is going to be really close. Three more flags left. If he doesn't die, he should be able to PB here. But these... Oh, okay. Ah, unfortunate. Unfortunate. That might have killed PB. Okay, very close calls on those spikes. Ooh, this jump might not be possible. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And looks like PB is definitely gone at this point. I believe his PB was like a 102.14. It's kind of unfortunate that the very end of Summit ends up killing it. Ooh, just barely not able to reach that corner, so he takes another death.
That's 3,000 meters for you.
More like 3,000 suffering, am I right? Okay, and he clears the spikes onto flag 1. So we should be good to not die anymore at this point. Looks like this is just barely going to be a 103 from him. And he actually ended up getting stuck. That might have actually been possible to be a 102. And he finishes up with a time of 103.02. Not an awful run for him, but that could have easily been a PB if he had just ended up avoiding a couple of those super long room deaths. Okay, I'm going to see really quickly if Lv99Weeb wants to come in here for a minute. So hey, Lv99Weeb, how do you feel after that run?
Oh man, well it's kind of funny because like I PB'd, but I also feel terrible because it's like one of those you know you could do so much better, but it's still improvement. So.
Oh wait, that was a PB. I think I'm dumb. For some reason, I thought you had a 102 because I misremembered your last tourney race.
No, I think it's like a 103.48. So like I barely like hang on, yeah. Yeah, it's 103.
Oh, okay. Still, though, that means it's a PB, so I guess that's good.
Yeah, we take those.
Nice, dude. That's good.
So, like, which parts of that did you feel like you played really well on?
Like I put most of my work this time was spent on Celestial Resort. And most of it's still pretty good. It's just every now and then, like I get a random screen, I die at the end, and if I die at the end, it's just like you tilt out of it. I think my oh, what's it called? I can't even remember. The mirror level is pretty good. Mirror Temple. And then my old site was pretty good. Everything else was about just it was like average, you know, like it wasn't a bad run. It was just an average run, unfortunately.
Yeah, but sometimes I guess like surprisingly a large amount of the time, average is all you need to beat your PB because it's hard to like play every level really well in a run.
Oh, it's insane, especially a game like this.
Yeah, and like if you die once in a lot of screens, like your split goes from good to bad really fast.
Oh man, and I swear I find I won't die in a screen that lasts 2 seconds. I'll die in a screen that lasts 15, 20 every single time.
Yeah, and it's always at like the very end.
Oh man, I think during the Shiro runaway sequence, I literally died a second away from beating the level.
Yeah, you had that death to the very last, what is it? The very last, like, red orb guy. I
Yeah.
forgot his name.
Yeah. No, it nailed me. And the second that happened, I'm just like, really? Like, come on, man. It was so well, and then, yeah. But it's all in good fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, deaths like that happen too often in this game.
Too often, as in literally all the time.
Still a great race. It's nice to see you like keep PBing in this tournament. I'm looking forward to sub 1 soon.
Yeah, hopefully soon. This week's a really bad week for me. There's a lot of stuff going on. But as the tournament's winding down, these next is it 2 weeks officially, or is it just 1 week? I think it's 2.
Yeah, sort of too.
Yeah, look to see a lot more practicing, a lot more improvement. It's gonna be something. We're gonna close it up pretty hard. I'm gonna try and shoot for sub 50 before this is over.
That's a good goal. And that's a good thing about this game, is that you can set goals like that and it be realistic no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's going to be it for this race. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please follow both of the runners because they're cool. And there's also GDTog, but whatever.
Yeet.
But yeah, thanks for watching. There's a ton of other races going on in this Any Percent tournament. I don't think there are any more tonight, but there's a ton tomorrow. So just look out for the other speed gaming channels or whatever. And then also, like, speed gaming does so much cool stuff. Make sure to follow all of the speed gaming channels. There's like so many cool different speed game tournaments and stuff that are like always going on. So be sure to check those out. And I guess with that, I'm going to sign off. Goodbye forever. Just like so many